Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we're going to be looking at Silvally GX. Yes, I know we've already had a Silvally GX. Remember, it's not rotating out because we did have a second print of it in Ultra Prism, and it was a proper print, not an alternate art print. So the initial Silvally GX is still totally legal post-rotation. We'll mention that as we go through the video. But we're getting a new Silvally GX now, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming out in Dream League in Japan. It's going to be in Cosmic Eclipse, our November set over here. And our translation comes from the lovely Joe over at Zoroark.net, a frankly wonderful website. But we should probably have a look at what it is and what it does. So starting off, 210 HP. It's pretty much the best you can hope for from a Stage 1 GX. It's not bad. It's not horrifically brilliant, but no, it's not bad at all, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the weakness to fighting is frankly not ideal, because Pikachu and Zekrom is still good. People are going to be trying to hit that for weakness. And we've got stuff like Buzzwole running around. And if you go down to 4 prizes remaining, Buzzwole is going to feast, ladies and gentlemen. Sad face. Retreat cost of 2 is not ideal, but we do have the new Beware that will reduce the retreat cost of your active by 2. So that's quite nice. And it's a colourless Pokemon, so you're not hitting anything for weakness. And you have lost double colourless energy. But because you're a Stage 1 and therefore an evolution Pokemon, you do have access to triple acceleration energy, which does fall off at the end of your turn. It's not ideal or perfect, but we can work with it, ladies and gentlemen. It's not terrible. We can work with it. But what does it actually do? Well, according to the lovely Joe over at Zoroark.net, the ability here, once during your turn, you may draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. That's phenomenal. Like, that's over the top, crazy, phenomenally good. That is inarguably brilliant. Just dumb good, quite frankly. Dumb good. I mean, look, we've all been loving Oranguru. And Oranguru lets us draw until we've got 3 cards in hand. But Oranguru's being rotated, and this is significantly better anyway. Now, we've still got some other options post-rotation. We've got Zeb Striker. You got to discard your entire hand. You do get to draw 4, but you've got to discard your entire hand. And we got Pidgeotto, which is a Stage 1. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. 1 in your hand, 1 to the bottom of your deck. But they're all Stage 1s. The really good basic consistency Pokemon that we had was Oranguru, and we're losing it. So no matter which Pokemon you're using for consistency, they're going to be Stage 1s. Now, the huge downside of Silvally here is that really the only good gusting we're going to have post-rotation is Great Catcher. Great Catcher, you discard 2 cards from your hand, you then grab one of your opponent's benched EX or GX Pokemon and drag it into the active. That means if you're playing this for just the ability, and there is a strong argument to play it just for the ability, it is going to be a slight liability in terms of your opponent gusting it into the active and KOing it. It means it's 2 prizes sitting there for your opponent to grab whenever they want to. Especially if they're playing a Buzzwole and you ever go down to 4 prizes remaining. It's not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But the draw here is just awesome. I mean, again, to put it into context, we've got something like Miss Magius. Now, Miss Magius is a Stage 1, and you have to KO it. Yes, that involves giving your opponent a prize, but then you draw until you got 7 cards in your hand. And drawing till 7 is better than drawing till 5, but this is a one-shot deal that KOs itself. Silvally is drawing till 5 every single time. Similarly, Shaman let you draw until you had 6 cards in hand, and okay, that's 1 more, but that is a Pokemon with 110 HP, which is a huge liability. And you benched it, and that was it. It was a one-shot deal, and if you wanted to keep doing it, you had to keep using bench spaces. The best thing about this, I mean, don't get me wrong, but the draw is awesome. But the best thing is that you are constantly doing this. It is an every-turn ability. You don't have to take up a bench space every time you want to do this. You can just every single turn draw till you've got 5 cards in hand, and you don't have to play any more Pokemon, and you don't have to take up a new bench space, it really is a phenomenal ability. It is a liability being on the bench as a 2-prize Pokemon, especially one that doesn't have an ideal weakness. I get that entirely, I promise you I do. But I also know that draw power gives you a huge advantage in the Pokemon trading card game. And as far as I'm concerned, this is the best Pokemon draw we've got. Like, as we go to post-rotation, we don't have Pokemon draw that's better than this. Because you can just play a fast deck, play with your items, etc., then draw till you've got 5. And unlike something like Dedenne, this is not limited to once during your turn. So, yes, you have to play multiple Silvally. You can't use the same Silvally multiple times. But what you can do here is have 2 or 3 Silvally on the bench and then use this ability 2 or 3 times during your turn. It is over the top phenomenal. Bearing in mind Zoroark's just been rotated, this is kind of Zoroark now. At least in terms of having a stage 1 Pokemon that's weak to fighting and has a really nice draw ability, pretty much Zoroark. But do the attacks stack up? Well, the first attack here for 2 colourless energy, 50 damage if you played a supporter card from your hand during this turn. This attack does 70 more damage. Now here's the thing. Zoroark did 120. This is going to do 120. Okay, there'll be the odd turn you can't play a supporter, but bearing in mind you've got your own ability, I don't think we really need to worry about not playing a supporter. This is weirdly similar to Zoroark, ladies and gentlemen. Like, weirdly similar to Zoroark. Stage 1, weak to fighting. You're not really hitting anything for weakness, and you weren't really with Zoroark anyway. I say you'd find the odd thing like Gengar and Mimikyu, but it really was very rare that you'd hit something for weakness. I suppose Giratina. Although even then, your weakness only made you doing an extra 10 damage. But the point is, you've got a Stage 1 GX with a really good draw ability and attack that's going to do 120 for 2 energy. I mean, come on! It's basically Zoroark. Now, the thing is, Zoroark had double colourless energy, this doesn't. You've got triple acceleration energy, which is great, but we do need to remember that you're not always going to have that. You can only have 4 and they only last for a turn. Now, because it's colourless energy, you could use fire energy and go for Welder here. You could use Psychic Energy and go for Malamar, although I don't love the extra Stage 1. Although if you're going to play multiple Stage 1s, having a draw engine is going to really help you. And you've got Tapu Koko Prism Star here, which attaches 1 lightning energy from your discard to each of 2 bench Pokemon. So as soon as you do that, all of a sudden you've got what amounts to a single energy attack. And let's not forget we've got the other Silvally GX, that again, for what is essentially 1 triple acceleration energy, it does 120 and attaches a basic energy from your discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. And then it's essentially a single energy attack. Although, this is a stage in the video where I have to say, you know how I said you were hitting nothing for weakness? Well, that's true, until you remember that Silvally has the memory cards. You see, Silvally has a whole bunch of memory cards that allow you to hit weakness. We've got water memory, grass memory, electric memory, fire memory, psychic memory, and fighting memory. Which means that with the right tool, you can be hitting water weakness, grass weakness, electric weakness, fire weakness, psychic weakness, or fighting weakness. You can hit weakness on not every type, but certainly a bunch of them. Pikachu and Zekrom, you can hit it for weakness. Reshiram and Charizard, you can hit it for weakness. Mewtwo and Mew, you can hit it for weakness. Although annoyingly, you'll only be doing 240 damage, and that's only enough to KO Pikachu and Zekrom. The others you won't be KOing. At least not in one hit, but you're still doing a huge amount of damage. And one thing to point out here, the only things you're not one-hit KOing with this attack, assuming you've got the right memory card, are Tag Team GXs, most of them, and Stage 2 GXs, some of them. Everything else is going down in one hit here. This is, like, phenomenal. We've got a ridiculous ability, a colourless attack that does 120 damage, and the ability to turn ourselves into the majority of typings, and certainly pretty much all the ones we'd want to. And then there's a GX attack, 2 colourless energy. If your opponent's active Pokemon is an Ultra Beast, instant KO. Now, if they're not an Ultra Beast, it does nothing, but against an Ultra Beast, instant KO. An Ultra Necrozma looks like it's going to be really good post-rotation. And Blacephalon looks like it's going to be really good post-rotation. And then you've got stuff like Pheromosa and Buzzwole, which doesn't see a huge amount of play, but you never know, it might. And there's a lot of Ultra Beasts out there that you can end up hitting for weakness. Now, given that Silvally in the game was basically a weapon against the Ultra Beast, thematically, I adore this GX attack. But this might be one of the best GXs we've had. I mean, I'm going to be redoing my list of top 10 GXs in the near future, and although this won't be eligible because it's only out in Japan, when I do a top 10 list and this is eligible, I don't see how this doesn't make it on it. We've got an ability that lets you draw until you got 5 cards in your hand, which becomes the best Pokemon draw we've got. An attack that does 120 for just 2 energy, plus all of the memory cards, so you can be hitting for 6 different weaknesses. And then a GX attack that gets a one-hit KO on any Ultra Beast. Incidentally, it is the same GX attack that the second Alolan Ninetales had, except the second Alolan Ninetales did it for a fairy and a colourless energy, making this a little bit better because it's more payable. This is an over-the-top phenomenal, easy 5 Wossie card. Like, without even thinking about it. This is basically Zoroark. This is our Zoroark replacement. We've got a Stage 1 GX, weak to fighting, with a good draw ability and an attack that does 120 for 2 energy, except you've got a GX attack you'll actually use, because come on, how many people actually use Zoroark's GX attack? All of the best Zoroark archetypes didn't play Darkness Energy, so couldn't use a GX attack. This has got a GX attack that you can actually use, and instead of hitting for 1 weakness which is quite obscure, you've got potentially 6 different weaknesses here. Tell me how this is not over-the-top phenomenal, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me how it's not phenomenal. Seriously, comment section. Although I expect that most of you will in fact be gushing about how it is in fact absolutely phenomenal. Go nuts, ladies and gentlemen, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have Pokemon in. And we've got a couple of videos up now where you can win some of those games, so do go check them out. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.